Hello and welcome. Today we will talk about Industrial Revolution. Let's start. Enjoy watching. Industrial Revolution: causes, key developments, and impact. Introduction: the dawn of industrialization. The Industrial Revolution, spanning from the late 18th century to the early 19th century, was a period of significant transformation that fundamentally changed the way people lived and worked. Originating in Britain, this revolution marked the transition from agrarian economies to industrialized and urbanized societies. The changes brought about by the Industrial Revolution had profound effects on almost every aspect of daily life and laid the foundation for the modern world. Economic and social conditions. Before the Industrial Revolution, most economies were based on agriculture and handicrafts. People lived in rural areas and worked on farms or as artisans in small workshops. The production processes were labor-intensive and relied heavily on human and animal power. The social structure was largely hierarchical, with a clear division between the landed aristocracy, the middle classes, and the working poor. Several factors contributed to the onset of the Industrial Revolution in Britain. The country had abundant natural resources, such as coal and iron ore, which were essential for industrial production. Additionally, Britain's colonial empire provided access to vast markets and raw materials. The agricultural revolution of the 18th century had increased food production, leading to population growth and a surplus labor force. Technological innovations. The technological innovations of the Industrial Revolution were central to its success. These innovations mechanized production processes and increased efficiency, enabling mass production and the growth of industries. Key inventions included the spinning jenny, the water frame, and the power loom, which revolutionized the textile industry. The development of the steam engine by James Watt provided a new and powerful source of energy, further accelerating industrialization. Economic theories and capitalism. The Industrial Revolution was also influenced by new economic theories and the rise of capitalism. The ideas of Adam Smith, particularly those expressed in his seminal work The Wealth of Nations, advocated for free markets, competition, and the division of labor. These principles encouraged investment and innovation, driving economic growth and industrial expansion. Urbanization and social change. The shift from rural to urban living was one of the most significant social changes of the Industrial Revolution. As factories and industries grew, people moved to cities in search of work. This urbanization led to the rapid growth of cities, often outpacing the development of infrastructure and housing. The living conditions in many industrial cities were poor, with overcrowded housing, inadequate sanitation, and a lack of clean water. Despite the challenges, the Industrial Revolution also brought about social mobility. The growing middle class, consisting of entrepreneurs, merchants, and professionals, began to play a more prominent role in society. The working class, although often living in difficult conditions, also saw gradual improvements in wages and working conditions over time. Key developments in the Industrial Revolution. The textile industry. The textile industry was at the heart of the Industrial Revolution. Innovations such as the spinning jenny, invented by James Hargreaves, and the water frame, developed by Richard Arkwright, transformed the production of textiles. These machines allow for the mass production of yarn and cloth, reducing the need for skilled labor and lowering production costs. The power loom, invented by Edmund Cartwright, further revolutionized the textile industry by automating the weaving process. Factories, or mills, began to dominate the textile industry, replacing the domestic system of production. The mechanization of textile production not only increased efficiency but also led to the rise of factory towns and the growth of the industrial workforce. The steam engine. The development of the steam engine was a pivotal moment in the Industrial Revolution. James Watt's improvements to the steam engine in the late 18th century made it a reliable and efficient source of power. The steam engine was initially used to pump water out of mines, but its applications quickly expanded to other industries, including textiles, transportation, and manufacturing. The steam engine enabled the growth of railways and steamships, revolutionizing transportation and commerce. Railways facilitated the rapid movement of goods and people, connecting industrial centers with markets and resources. The expansion of the railway network had a profound impact on economic development and urbanization. Iron and steel production. Advancements in iron and steel production were critical to the progress of the Industrial Revolution. The introduction of the blast furnace and the development of the Bessemer process allowed for the mass production of high-quality steel. Steel became the backbone of industrial infrastructure used in the construction of railways, bridges, buildings, and machinery. The availability of cheap and durable steel facilitated further technological advancements and industrial growth. The iron and steel industry also stimulated the growth of related industries such as mining, engineering, and transportation. The rise of factories. The factory system became the dominant mode of production during the Industrial Revolution. Factories centralized production, bringing together large numbers of workers and machines under one roof. This system increased efficiency and productivity, allowing for the mass production of goods at lower costs. The rise of factories also transformed labor relations and working conditions. Factory work was often characterized by long hours, low wages, and harsh conditions. Child labor was common, and workers had little protection or rights. The factory system led to the emergence of a distinct working class whose struggles for better conditions and rights would shape labor movements and social reforms in the following centuries. Transportation and communication. The Industrial Revolution saw significant advancements in transportation and communication. The development of railways and steamships revolutionized travel and trade, reducing the time and cost of transporting goods and people. The construction of canals and roads further improved transportation networks, facilitating the movement of raw materials and finished products. Innovations in communication, such as the telegraph, transformed the way information was transmitted. The telegraph allowed for rapid communication over long distances, connecting industrial centers and markets. These advancements in transportation and communication played a crucial role in the integration of national and global economies. Social and economic impact of the Industrial Revolution. Urbanization and living conditions. The rapid urbanization brought about by the Industrial Revolution had a profound impact on living conditions. Cities grew at an unprecedented rate, often without adequate planning or infrastructure. The result was overcrowded and unsanitary living conditions for many urban dwellers. Poor housing, lack of clean water, and inadequate sanitation led to the spread of diseases and high mortality rates. Despite these challenges, urbanization also brought opportunities for economic and social advancement. Cities became centers of commerce, culture, and innovation. The growth of the middle class and the rise of consumer culture transformed social norms and lifestyles. Over time, improvements in public health, housing, and urban planning began to address some of the negative aspects of urbanization. Labor movements and social reforms. The harsh working conditions in factories and mines led to the rise of labor movements and calls for social reforms. Workers organized to demand better wages, shorter working hours, and safer working conditions. The formation of trade unions and the organization of strikes became important tools for workers to negotiate with employers and advocate for their rights. Social reformers, such as Robert Owen and Charles Dickens, highlighted the plight of the working class and called for changes to improve their living and working conditions. Legislation, such as the Factory Acts in Britain, began to regulate child labor and set limits on working hours. These reforms laid the foundation for modern labor laws and workers' rights. Economic growth and global trade. The Industrial Revolution led to unprecedented economic growth and the expansion of global trade. The mass production of goods and advancements in transportation and communication facilitated the development of national and international markets. Industrialized nations, particularly Britain, became major exporters of manufactured goods while importing raw materials from their colonies and trading partners. The rise of industrial capitalism transformed economic systems and created new opportunities for investment and entrepreneurship. The growth of industries and the expansion of trade contributed to the overall increase in wealth and the standard of living for many people, although the benefits were not evenly distributed. Technological and scientific advancements. The Industrial Revolution was a period of significant technological and scientific advancements. The innovations in machinery, transportation, and communication transformed production processes and everyday life. The development of new materials, such as steel and chemicals, facilitated further industrial growth and technological progress. The revolution also spurred scientific research and the application of scientific principles to industrial processes. The collaboration between scientists, engineers, and industrialists led to breakthroughs in fields such as chemistry, physics, and engineering. These advancements laid the groundwork for future technological developments and the continued progress of industrialization. Cultural and societal changes. The Industrial Revolution brought about significant cultural and societal changes. The rise of industrial cities and the growth of the middle class transformed social structures and lifestyles. The increased availability of goods and the rise of consumer culture changed the way people lived and interacted with the world. Education and literacy rates improved as industrial societies recognized the importance of an educated workforce. The establishment of public schools and the expansion of higher education institutions provided new opportunities for learning and social mobility. The revolution also influenced art, literature, and philosophy. The experiences of industrialization, urbanization, and social change were reflected in the works of artists, writers, and thinkers. Movements such as Romanticism and Realism responded to the challenges and opportunities of the Industrial Age, exploring themes of nature, progress, and the human condition. Social and economic impact of the Industrial Revolution. Urbanization and living conditions. The rapid urbanization brought about by the Industrial Revolution had a profound impact on living conditions. As people flocked to cities in search of work, urban areas grew at an unprecedented rate, often without adequate planning or infrastructure. This led to significant changes in living conditions for many urban dwellers. Overcrowded housing. The influx of workers into cities led to overcrowded and unsanitary living conditions. Many families were forced to live in cramped, poorly constructed tenements with little ventilation and natural light. The lack of space and inadequate housing conditions contributed to the spread of diseases and high mortality rates. In many industrial cities, entire families often lived in a single room, sharing communal facilities such as kitchens and bathrooms with other families. This lack of privacy and basic amenities made daily life challenging and uncomfortable. Public health issues. The rapid growth of cities outpaced the development of sanitation and public health infrastructure. Sewage systems were often inadequate or non-existent, leading to contaminated water supplies and the spread of diseases such as cholera and typhoid. The lack of clean drinking water and proper waste disposal created serious health hazards for urban populations. Epidemics were common in industrial cities, and the close proximity of people living in overcrowded conditions made it easy for diseases to spread rapidly. The high incidence of illness and death among urban dwellers highlighted the urgent need for public health reforms. Pollution and environmental degradation. The rise of factories and industrial activities led to significant environmental degradation. The burning of coal for energy produced large amounts of smoke and soot, polluting the air and creating hazardous living conditions. Industrial waste was often dumped into rivers and waterways, contaminating water supplies and harming aquatic life. The environmental impact of industrialization had long-term consequences for the health and well-being of urban populations. The pollution of air, water, and soil contributed to respiratory illnesses, waterborne diseases, and other health problems. Improvements in living standards. Despite the challenges, the Industrial Revolution also brought about improvements in living standards over time. The growth of industries and the expansion of markets led to increased production and availability of goods. The rise of consumer culture allowed more people to access products that were previously considered luxuries. As wages gradually increased and working hours were regulated, many workers experienced improvements in their quality of life. The development of new technologies and innovations, such as gas lighting and indoor plumbing, also contributed to better living conditions. Public health reforms. In response to the dire living conditions and public health crises, governments and reformers began to implement measures to address these issues. The establishment of public health boards and the introduction of sanitation regulations aimed to improve urban living conditions. The construction of modern sewage systems, clean water supplies, and public health campaigns helped to reduce the incidence of diseases and improve overall health outcomes. The work of public health pioneers, such as Edwin Chadwick in Britain, played a crucial role in advancing these reforms. Labor movements and social reforms. The harsh working conditions in factories and mines during the Industrial Revolution led to the rise of labor movements and calls for social reforms. Workers organized to demand better wages, shorter working hours, and safer working conditions. The formation of trade unions and the organization of strikes became important tools for workers to negotiate with employers and advocate for their rights. The rise of trade unions. Trade unions, also known as labor unions, emerged as a response to the exploitation and poor working conditions faced by industrial workers. These organizations aimed to unite workers and provide a collective voice to negotiate with employers. Early trade unions faced significant opposition and legal restrictions, but they gradually gained strength and influence. The Combination Acts of 1799 and 1800 in Britain, which prohibited workers from forming unions and engaging in collective bargaining, were eventually repealed in 1824. This marked a turning point for the labor movement, allowing unions to organize more freely and advocate for workers' rights. Strikes and industrial action. Strikes and other forms of industrial action became common tactics used by workers to demand better conditions and wages. These actions often led to confrontations with employers and, in some cases, violent clashes with authorities. Despite the risks, strikes were an essential tool for workers to assert their demands and bring attention to their grievances. Prominent strikes, such as the Match Girls Strike of 1888 and the London Dock Strike of 1889, highlighted the power of collective action and brought about significant improvements in working conditions and wages. Social reformers and legislation. Social reformers, such as Robert Owen, Charles Dickens, and Friedrich Engels, highlighted the plight of the working class and called for changes to improve their living and working conditions. These reformers used literature, journalism, and activism to raise awareness about the social injustices brought about by industrialization. Legislation, such as the Factory Acts in Britain, began to regulate child labor and set limits on working hours. The Factory Act of 1833, for example, restricted the working hours of children and required factory inspectors to enforce the regulations. Subsequent acts expanded protections for workers and addressed issues such as safety standards and workplace conditions. The Chartist movement. The Chartist movement, which emerged in the 1830s and 1840s in Britain, was a working-class movement that sought political reforms to address the inequalities and injustices of the industrial system. The movement's demands, outlined in the People's Charter, included universal male suffrage, secret ballots, and annual parliamentary elections. Although the Chartist movement did not achieve all its goals, it played a significant role in raising awareness about the need for political and social reforms. The movement's emphasis on democratic principles and workers' rights laid the groundwork for future labor and social movements. Technological and scientific advancements. The Industrial Revolution was a period of significant technological and scientific advancements. The innovations in machinery, transportation, and communication transformed production processes and everyday life. The development of new materials, such as steel and chemicals, facilitated further industrial growth and technological progress. Advancements in machinery. The mechanization of production processes was a hallmark of the Industrial Revolution. The development of machines such as the spinning jenny, the water frame, and the power loom revolutionized the textile industry, allowing for mass production and increased efficiency. The invention of the steam engine by James Watt provided a new and powerful source of energy, which was applied to various industries, including textiles, mining, and transportation. The steam engine enabled the operation of machinery on a larger scale and facilitated the growth of factories and industrial production. Transportation innovations. The Industrial Revolution saw significant advancements in transportation, which transformed the movement of goods and people. The development of the steam locomotive and the construction of railways revolutionized land transportation. Railways facilitated the rapid movement of raw materials and finished products, connecting industrial centers with markets and resources. Steamships revolutionized maritime transportation, allowing for faster and more efficient travel across oceans and rivers. The expansion of canals and the construction of roads further improved transportation networks, enhancing trade and commerce. Communication developments. Innovations in communication, such as the telegraph, transformed the way information was transmitted. The telegraph allowed for rapid communication over long distances, connecting industrial centers and markets. This innovation played a crucial role in the integration of national and global economies, enabling businesses to coordinate production and distribution more effectively. The invention of the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876 further revolutionized communication, allowing for real-time voice conversations over long distances. These advancements in communication technology facilitated the growth of industries and the expansion of global trade. Scientific discoveries. The Industrial Revolution was also a period of significant scientific discoveries and advancements. The collaboration between scientists, engineers, and industrialists led to breakthroughs in fields such as chemistry, physics, and engineering. These advancements laid the groundwork for future technological developments and the continued progress of industrialization. The development of new materials, such as steel and chemicals, facilitated further industrial growth and technological progress. Innovations in chemistry, such as the discovery of synthetic dyes and the development of new manufacturing processes, had a profound impact on various industries, including textiles and pharmaceuticals. The scientific advancements of the Industrial Revolution also had a significant impact on medicine and public health. The development of vaccines, the discovery of anesthesia, and improvements in surgical techniques contributed to better health outcomes and increased life expectancy. Cultural and societal changes. The Industrial Revolution brought about significant cultural and societal changes. The rise of industrial cities and the growth of the middle class transformed social structures and lifestyles. The increased availability of goods and the rise of consumer culture changed the way people lived and interacted with the world. Education and literacy. The Industrial Revolution recognized the importance of an educated workforce for industrial and economic progress. As a result, there was a significant emphasis on improving education and literacy rates. The establishment of public schools and the expansion of higher education institutions provided new opportunities for learning and social mobility. The increased availability of printed materials, such as books and newspapers, contributed to the spread of knowledge and ideas. Literacy rates improved, and education became more accessible to a broader segment of the population. Cultural movements. The experiences of industrialization, urbanization, and social change were reflected in the works of artists, writers, and thinkers. Movements such as Romanticism and Realism responded to the challenges and opportunities of the industrial age, exploring themes of nature, progress, and the human condition. Romanticism, which emerged in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, emphasized emotion, individualism, and the beauty of nature. It was a reaction against the rationalism and industrialization of the era, highlighting the importance of personal experience and the sublime. Realism, which emerged in the mid-19th century, focused on depicting everyday life and social conditions with accuracy and detail. Realist artists and writers sought to portray the realities of industrial society, including the struggles of the working class and the impact of urbanization. Consumer culture. The Industrial Revolution also gave rise to consumer culture, characterized by the mass production and consumption of goods. The increased availability of products, such as clothing, household items, and entertainment, transformed daily life and social norms. The rise of department stores and mass marketing made consumer goods more accessible to a wider audience. Advertising and branding became important tools for businesses to attract customers and promote their products. Social mobility and class structure. The Industrial Revolution brought about changes in social mobility and class structure. The growth of industries and the expansion of markets created new opportunities for entrepreneurship and investment. The rise of the middle class, consisting of entrepreneurs, merchants, and professionals, played a more prominent role in society. While the working class faced significant challenges, including harsh working conditions and low wages, there were also opportunities for social mobility. Skilled workers, artisans, and small business owners could improve their economic status through hard work and innovation. The Industrial Revolution also led to the emergence of a distinct working class, whose struggles for better conditions and rights would shape labor movements and social reforms in the following centuries. The experiences of the working class highlighted the need for social and economic justice, leading to the development of modern labor laws and workers' rights. The legacy of the Industrial Revolution. Long-term economic impact. The Industrial Revolution had a profound and lasting impact on the global economy. It marked the transition from agrarian economies to industrialized and urbanized societies, leading to unprecedented economic growth and development. The innovations and changes brought about during this period laid the foundation for the modern economic systems we see today. Industrial capitalism. The Industrial Revolution gave rise to industrial capitalism, characterized by the growth of factories, mass production, and the accumulation of capital. The principles of free markets, competition, and the division of labor, as advocated by economists like Adam Smith, became central to economic thought and practice. The expansion of industries and the development of new technologies facilitated the growth of businesses and the creation of wealth. Entrepreneurs and industrialists played a crucial role in driving economic progress, investing in new ventures and innovations. Global trade and economic integration. The advancements in transportation and communication during the Industrial Revolution transformed global trade and economic integration. The development of railways, steamships, and telegraph systems facilitated the movement of goods, people, and information across long distances. Industrialized nations became major exporters of manufactured goods while importing raw materials from their colonies and trading partners. This global trade network contributed to the economic growth of both industrialized and non-industrialized regions, although it also led to the exploitation of resources and labor in many parts of the world. Labor markets and workforce changes. The Industrial Revolution brought about significant changes in labor markets and the workforce. The shift from agrarian to industrial economies created new job opportunities in factories, mines, and urban centers. The demand for labor in these industries led to the migration of people from rural areas to cities. The rise of the factory system also transformed labor relations and working conditions. The emergence of trade unions and labor movements played a crucial role in advocating for workers' rights and improving wages, hours, and conditions. The development of labor laws and regulations established standards for workplace safety and fairness. Technological advancements and innovation. The technological advancements of the Industrial Revolution had a lasting impact on innovation and industrial development. The innovations in machinery, energy, and production processes paved the way for continued technological progress and industrial growth. The development of new materials, such as steel and chemicals, facilitated further advancements in engineering, construction, and manufacturing. The scientific discoveries and innovations of the Industrial Revolution laid the groundwork for future technological breakthroughs, driving economic growth and improving quality of life. Social and cultural impact. The Industrial Revolution also had a profound impact on social and cultural life. The changes brought about by industrialization transformed social structures, lifestyles, and cultural norms, shaping the modern world in significant ways. Urbanization and social mobility. The rapid urbanization of the Industrial Revolution led to the growth of cities and the development of new social dynamics. Cities became centers of commerce, culture, and innovation, attracting people from diverse backgrounds and creating opportunities for social mobility. The rise of the middle class and the expansion of consumer culture transformed social norms and lifestyles. The increased availability of goods and services improved living standards and created new possibilities for leisure and entertainment. Education and literacy. The importance of education and literacy became increasingly recognized during the Industrial Revolution. The establishment of public schools and the expansion of higher education institutions provided new opportunities for learning and social advancement. The increased availability of printed materials, such as books, newspapers, and pamphlets, contributed to the spread of knowledge and ideas. Literacy rates improved, and education became more accessible to a broader segment of the population, fostering a more informed and engaged citizenry. Cultural movements and artistic expression. The experiences of industrialization and urbanization influenced cultural movements and artistic expression. The Romantic movement, which emerged as a reaction to the rationalism and industrialization of the era, emphasized emotion, individualism, and the beauty of nature. Realism, which followed Romanticism, focused on depicting everyday life and social conditions with accuracy and detail. Realist artists and writers sought to portray the realities of industrial society, including the struggles of the working class and the impact of urbanization. The Industrial Revolution also inspired advancements in architecture and design. The construction of iconic structures, such as bridges, railways, and factories, showcased the engineering prowess and technological innovations of the era. Social reforms and human rights. The Industrial Revolution highlighted the need for social reforms and the protection of human rights. The harsh working conditions and exploitation faced by many workers led to calls for social justice and the development of labor laws and regulations. Reformers and activists, such as Robert Owen and Friedrich Engels, advocated for better living and working conditions, as well as the rights of workers and the poor. Their efforts contributed to the establishment of social safety nets, public health initiatives, and labor protections that continue to shape modern societies. The Industrial Revolution also played a role in the advancement of women's rights. The changing economic landscape created new opportunities for women to participate in the workforce and advocate for equality. The suffrage movement and other social reforms of the 19th and early 20th centuries were influenced by the broader changes brought about by industrialization. Environmental impact and sustainability. The Industrial Revolution had significant environmental consequences, many of which continue to affect the world today. The exploitation of natural resources, pollution, and environmental degradation were byproducts of industrialization that raised awareness about the need for sustainable practices and environmental stewardship. Resource extraction and environmental degradation. The Industrial Revolution relied heavily on the extraction of natural resources such as coal, iron, and timber. The intensive mining and logging practices led to the depletion of natural habitats and ecosystems, causing long-term environmental damage. The burning of fossil fuels, such as coal, for energy produced large amounts of air pollution, contributing to respiratory illnesses and environmental degradation. Industrial waste was often disposed of improperly, contaminating water supplies and harming wildlife. Pollution and public health. The pollution generated by industrial activities had serious public health implications. The poor air quality in industrial cities contributed to respiratory problems and other health issues for urban populations. Water pollution from industrial waste led to the spread of waterborne diseases and environmental damage. The awareness of these environmental issues grew over time, leading to the development of public health initiatives and environmental regulations aimed at mitigating the impact of industrialization. The recognition of the need for clean air, water, and sustainable practices became an important aspect of modern industrial societies. Sustainability and technological innovation. The environmental challenges of the Industrial Revolution also spurred innovation and the search for sustainable practices. Advances in technology and engineering have led to the development of cleaner energy sources such as wind, solar, and hydroelectric power, reducing the reliance on fossil fuels. The principles of sustainability and environmental stewardship have become integral to modern industrial practices. Efforts to reduce carbon emissions, conserve natural resources, and promote sustainable development reflect the lessons learned from the environmental impact of the Industrial Revolution. Global environmental awareness. The legacy of the Industrial Revolution has contributed to the global awareness of environmental issues and the importance of sustainability. International agreements and initiatives, such as the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, aim to address the environmental challenges posed by industrialization and promote sustainable development. The recognition of the interconnectedness of human and environmental well-being underscores the need for responsible and sustainable industrial practices. The lessons of the Industrial Revolution continue to inform efforts to balance economic growth with environmental protection and social equity. At the same time, the Industrial Revolution highlighted the need for social justice, environmental sustainability, and the protection of human rights. The struggles and achievements of the working class, the rise of labor movements, and the efforts of social reformers underscore the importance of addressing the social and environmental consequences of industrialization. The lessons of the Industrial Revolution continue to inform contemporary debates and policies, shaping our approach to economic development, social equity, and environmental stewardship. As we navigate the complexities of the modern world, the legacy of the Industrial Revolution reminds us of the potential for innovation and progress, as well as the responsibility to create a more just and sustainable future. Key figures of the Industrial Revolution. 1. James Watt, 1736 to 1819. Role: inventor and mechanical engineer. Contribution: James Watt made significant improvements to the steam engine, which played a crucial role in the Industrial Revolution. His enhancements to the efficiency and power of steam engines enabled their widespread use in industries, including textiles, mining, and transportation. Watt's work laid the foundation for the development of steam-powered machinery, leading to increased productivity and the growth of factories. 2. Richard Arkwright, 1732 to 1792. Role: inventor and industrialist. Contribution: Richard Arkwright is known as the father of the factory system for his innovations in textile manufacturing. He invented the water frame, a spinning machine powered by water, which allowed for the mass production of strong, high-quality yarn. Arkwright's establishment of large-scale factories revolutionized the textile industry and set the standard for industrial production methods. 3. George Stephenson, 1781 to 1848. Role: civil engineer and inventor. Contribution: George Stephenson is known as the father of railways for his pioneering work in railway construction and locomotive design. He designed the first successful steam locomotive, the Rocket, which became the model for future locomotives. Stephenson's development of railway infrastructure and locomotives revolutionized transportation, enabling faster and more efficient movement of goods and people. 4. Robert Owen, 1771 to 1858. Role: social reformer and industrialist. Contribution: Robert Owen was a leading social reformer who advocated for improved working conditions and the welfare of workers. He implemented progressive labor practices in his cotton mills in New Lanark, Scotland, including fair wages, reduced working hours, and education for workers' children. Owen's ideas on cooperative communities and workers' rights influenced future social reforms and labor movements. 5. Eli Whitney, 1765 to 1825. Role: inventor and manufacturer. Contribution: Eli Whitney is best known for inventing the cotton gin, a machine that revolutionized the cotton industry by efficiently separating cotton fibers from seeds. His invention greatly increased cotton production in the United States, contributing to the growth of the textile industry. Whitney also popularized the use of interchangeable parts in manufacturing, which improved production efficiency and set the stage for modern mass production techniques.